Just kidding.
Perfect. Oof. Chair Foxfield.
Me.
Ah,
You can't even rush on these rooms, even if you want to.
well,
Right. Yeah.
Did you? What?
Must be time for signups for baseball.
Pretty sure it is. I don't know. I haven't actually looked.
Until this weekend.
Really long.
What did it?
Yeah, we did. It was crazy.
Doesn't look that way for the next couple of weeks, so I'm just very disappointed.
For those who are doing maple syrup.
Right, yeah.
Mhm. And I haven't asked on them yet.
It's like not warm enough during the day because we know it's cold at night. Right.
They're still around.
We're waiting for you. Well, no, it's just.
Anyone. I came from parent teacher conferences. Do you want an agenda? You can.
You?
No, you're fine.
I guess I'll call this meeting to order. 6:35. We'll all stand and pledge.
Of the United States of America. And to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, committee attendance. Special guest? No. You have someone in the audience, Azalea. Hello. You approved minutes from last meeting.
I'll move that we accept the meeting as read.
All in favor? Okay, attachments, what's that? The minutes, okay.
Or in the packet.
Yep. And reports, educational consultant. In there,
Has there been any update?
No, nothing of recent.
Isn't she coming to the next meeting?
I believe she was going to come to the next meeting.
Both of them are supposed to come to that meeting,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Are we going to have a single person or two people that communicate with Connie, or,
Oh, I don't know.
because I mean, I know that you do the lawyer, but I wasn't sure if we just want to leave it open for anybody to contact Connie, or we should keep it to one or two people.
I would say.
I just want to, make sure that that's what we want, right, before we assume, and make sure that you're okay with doing that.
I know you sent an email about what recently about time and place or whatever, that they're coming. Should you say it out loud?
If I can find it and remember it.
So are we just gonna have Nick also be the point of contact for the educational consultant? So. Anybody,
Motion, I just.
it is, anybody listening?
Well, it's like, yeah.
There, time, but whether he wants to do that also,
It's one on the same.
but I was thinking,
I just kind of thought that was part of it.
I just want to make sure.
consulting with the educational consultant.
See the update where she said she was going to send out 3 W-9s.
Yeah. And she's mailing those directly to each town. I offered to have her send them directly to me, and she chose to mail them. So I provided addresses to each town. So. My brain is not like checked back into all the stuff that happened.
I was in there last night.
Like that's really all I had going, and then Kristen wasn't going to be here this week. We were going to go. She was going to be at the next meeting. So.
Which is, well, I just didn't know if we should have it out so people know, what to come there. But I just didn't make it know.
Right. What is the next meeting? Is it April? I don't remember off the top of my head. Sorry.
Oh,
2 weeks from today will be April 2nd.
Yep, April 2nd.
April 2nd.
Yeah.
And that is both of them, the educational consultant and the lawyer, I can zoom in.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll verify again with them that that's still the plan, but that was what we talked about.
okay,
What location?
We need to talk about that.
Yeah.
yes.
The Zoom license. I got it. I didn't sign it yet. Okay. Just, yeah.
Oh, so someone can zoom in?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we're trying to get that one.
Yeah.
I sent it to your group so you can have your own license.
So we'll have to update the Zoom info on your agenda, just so that
Right.
they have the right one.
I'll work on that this weekend.
Withdrawal progress update. We're still on step 8.
Yeah, we're still on step 8. I think we're on OSA's.
If you want to take one step back, I finally found the email I was trying to find.
Okay.
If you want me to verbalize what was kind of put in the email. So after the last meeting, we had the question come up of who handles the software and whether or not we have access to the software that used not really part of the negotiation that she handles. So that's kind of a loose end for us. I believe I sent an email to everybody sharing that, but I don't know for sure.
I thought it said that we had access.
Okay, yeah, well, but I think she was more or less leaving it on us to kind of navigate that. It didn't sound like she was telling us that she was going to reach out for us, so.
Yeah, I mean, she basically just states that, from her recollection, usually the parent RSU
Right.
allows the withdrawal people to utilize it, but we'd still have to ask.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want me or Kristen to reach out to Leah?
I would suggest that.
Yeah.
Since you guys have communicated with them in the past, so.
All right, I'll reach out to Kristen before we send anything to Leah. That way we kind of get on the same page.
Great.
All right. Anything else under withdrawal progress updates? No? Okay, old business, late arrival Wednesdays. Who wants to go?
Well, the meeting went well. There were some things that were brought up at the meeting that I think that we need to talk about. Excuse me. One of the things that was brought up was that it's difficult for people to hear us on video, on the Zoom. And you talked about this with me. Do you want to?
It's true. I was thinking that because field tends to have the mics and everything else, I wasn't sure if maybe people can have some there. Right.
So is it actual how we're doing the meetings or the recording that's bad?
It's the recording that you guys.
Yes, even in Buckfield, the recording's bad. Have you ever tried to go back and
So
you can?
if you guys keep the mics on the desk, it's not gonna pick you guys up. That's why we have the only issue. We have one bad mic.
Okay.
Right.
Right, but another thing is like the audience, you never hear. Like, so if it's anyone that we should have to like.
Mics that you guys have. Of course, I'm talking, but somebody in the audience wants to talk, just pass off the mic.
Right.
We do it before meeting.
So I think it's a good idea for a couple of reasons, and most because it addresses the issue that was brought up by one of the teachers. So I thought that was a really good idea. It answers their question.
I don't have any issue with coming over to Buckfield. That's totally fine with me. I don't think that would be a bad idea at all.
Okay, so I'll move that we have the rest of our withdrawal committee meetings in Buckfield.
All in favor?
I mean, here,
Are we going to rotate like we've been doing? Who's leading the meeting or?
Sure. Yeah, that's I think that's probably should.
That way it takes the next person.
Oh, yeah, there's lots to share.
Okay, well, we're there.
Yeah.
The other things was, the teachers mentioned, and even Shortwave mentioned it, that it looks like RSU 10 is actually starting their process to pull from us.
Is that true?
That is true. Rumford realized that we're trained for them. Right. We don't. Right.
That's interesting.
So, right. We don't. Right. I think that everybody should be aware of it. So that way it's always in the back of mind that we may not have a choice.
Right.
Wasn't that
Now, the other thing that I'm wondering, and I don't know, but is the way I see it, RSU 10 is the parent. We are the child as far as that relationship, as far as schools. Isn't there something with the state of Maine that says that a parent can't push a child out?
No, I think.
No,
Process.
Really? It's the same.
Yeah.
They
Really?
could withdraw from an RSU if they wanted to as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that would work out, but I know that that would be closer to probably a 3-year process. I mean, I think if they went through it, and for us, it's
Right.
a year.
I mean, if they started now, yeah, it would be a longer road than what we have left.
That they'll probably see what happens. But I don't.
Yeah.
Right. Because I know that one of the teachers mentioned, like, would it be better if we stopped our withdrawal process and let RSU 10 pull out? Would we get more stuff, and would we? And I basically told him, I was like, I don't think so, because lawyers and it's all done based upon agreements and everything else. It wouldn't really benefit one way or the other. Whoever initiated it, I guess.
So anyone who's saying, this isn't a good idea, we shouldn't do this, that point is like totally moot at this point because it's going to happen, right?
It's not really guaranteed. Our voters have to pass their voters, and it's got to pass, so not really a moot point.
It's just something to keep in the back of the mind, is all. That's all. But you're feeling that the teachers that you talk to are now maybe not as engaged as or as concerned about the withdrawal? Is that what your point you're making? Or no?
Well, yeah, so we're doing our late arrival Wednesday for the elementary school this coming Wednesday, and I know there's going to be a lot of emotions about it. Just a lot of people who are really against it, and I'm just wondering, is that discussion even worth talking about if both sides are saying, let's divorce? Okay, then why are we even discussing, if we're doing it? It sounds like it's going to happen.
Do we think that this is their movement is reactionary to what we're doing? I'm just curious.
No, I don't think it's real. I think it's when they saw the original numbers that makes sense for them to pull out if we didn't. But I do think that it makes sense to keep the meetings because we want to make sure everybody has correct information. You know what I mean?
I just don't want to waste too
Because
much time.
nothing's going to change for the employees. The contracts remain the same. I think that's good information for them to have.
Right.
And I think it gives them peace if we can show them what we know and how it's developing. Or hopefully that's the objective of these meetings. So
Yes, absolutely it
feel
is.
comfortable with it.
And in that vein, I would also like to suggest that we do 3 different public forums, one for Buckfield, one for Hartford, one for Sumner. I left the meeting yesterday feeling as though we should have done it sooner.
Really?
Yeah, I think we should have started sooner. And so.
We haven't been at this that long ago.
I know.
Right.
would like to propose that we do public forum in all three towns so that the community can have an opportunity to ask the meetings at the school are open to the public.
Right.
So I'd like to have them open to the public.
I think one thing that people just need to realize is that we haven't had really a whole lot of facts up until this point. We've just been really doing our best, and there were plenty of opportunities for people to show up at the ad hoc
I understand.
meetings, and they were very low attended. So,
I understand.
And I'm just wondering why no one's here.
right, another example, but
Meetings.
Absolutely.
So, and we had them in every town.
I understand. I just bring it up yesterday. Like I said, I understand that you guys all work full time and the kids and bedtime and sports and all of that.
Right, but we got volunteers.
So you have volunteers, but some of us are still working. We managed to come to all of these meetings.
Right.
So
And not for nothing, but the budget meetings that we have at Buckfield every year that I've been on the board, I don't think I've had like 3 people come to those.
Right.
You know. So, I mean, it'd be nice to hold multiple ones, but I think we could probably hold one and see what attendance looks like, and if it makes sense to hold more. I mean, I don't mind being in a meeting with nobody, but
I get, but right, if we're going to do a public forum, though, at what point does it make sense? Does it make sense at the end of May, or does it make sense now, or do we wait until we get later in the summer when we're still really not there with all the information packet that we need to educate people?
Information we need to share.
Right.
This is the process, and we're all still involved in it. We're not very far along in this 22-step process, and we'll answer the questions that we know the answers to. But if we don't know the answer, then we'll say we don't know.
Right.
But I think it's a matter of bringing the communication and inviting them to the table and saying, please come to the meetings if you want to know more.
do you think it would make sense for us to kind of send out, or each town to send out an update of kind of where we're at, which is really to let people know that we're not that far along in the process, and then invite people to come to these meetings or to join them online.
I like that.
We have to, also figure out how we're gonna reach people, right? Because not everybody's on Facebook, not everybody's on, thinks about going to the website. I mean, I'm not sure what other ways.
Does Buckfield have like a email list for youth content? Yeah, I've got 2,000 residents and I've got about 120 signed up.
Yeah, we're in the same boat. I think we about because we. I mean, I think one thing that I've kind of contemplated is if we formulate an official press release that we want to actually have posted, and that could be posted on Buckfield's Facebook page, Hartford's Facebook page. Some of it, that's a start compared to where we have been. I mean, I've talked to numerous people in my town that seem to think we are holding the numbers, and we know all the answers. Just release the numbers.
And that's exactly what I think.
Go around with it. Like, no, there are no numbers to share. This is a long, drawn-out process, and this committee has worked very, very hard to get even to this point. So it's not for lack of trying. It's just you need the.
Put something out, like you said, on Facebook page of the common things that we're hearing that I feel are not true. And
Frequently asked questions.
yes,
Yeah, that'd be good.
I think Cecilia has a question.
and I will go on her website. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I think we could gather a lot of the questions from Cameron's survey.
Yeah.
Because I noticed there's things about the tech school, which is beyond ridiculous because we're not going to lose any opportunity there. We own a portion of that school. If anything, it'll will be, instead of having to coordinate the schedule between 2 tech schools and multiple high schools, it's just us and them. So our calendars can be, so the kids aren't missing any days. If anything, it'll be improvement. And just some of the things that I kind of breezed through the survey, I think if we could come up with, the frequently asked questions and just do a bulletin on those to get those out of the way so that we're not constantly hearing the same stuff over.
I like that idea, and I agree with what Neil said too. Not everybody gets online. So maybe there could also be a printout to be available at the town office or available at the schools.
We could even ask Sandra if we could put some info.
I think she'd let it, yeah. I think that's fine.
Azalea?
I mean, I suggest for reminding on money, but
Well, 50,000.
It was designated for legal fees.
No,
Okay.
it was process, yeah.
Oh, right, okay, that's right.
So, thank you. So since you guys have so much money to work with, I really think that you should just print out things and mail them directly to residents. I think what should be included with that is a frequently asked questions page that you guys formulate. There should be information on the public meetings when they happen and where, especially now that they're going to be in a consistent location. And you should include the survey as well. I understand paper surveys are available, like has been mentioned, not everyone gets online. So I've talked to a ton of my elderly neighbors and relatives, and they have no idea that the survey exists until I tell them that it's been posted on the Facebook and on the website. So when you have that much money to work with, you have the budget to mail all this stuff out. I did float this idea to Cameron, printing it out. He mentioned that data entry would be cumbersome. I talked to some people about that as well. The surveys can be scanned by a printer, aggregated into a document, and then revised by AI to come up with an average, answer to the questions that you've presented.
Yes and no. A lot of these questions are open.
Yeah, absolutely. But you could get the rating questions at the very least aggregated by AI, and you could read the responses. You won't get a 100% response rate, but it will be take the survey, great. And if they do, that's on them.
Yeah. Now, I'm gonna do it. I think I think right now we have more information, but right now we're just not at this spot where a lot of stuff.
Is there anything else that you guys that stuck out to you talking to them on Wednesday?
The other thing that seemed to be, coming up is, which is important, is that we need to think about shifting our focus to the impact of the kids. As far as curriculum, as far as making sure that the withdrawal process, whether we have money or not, that it doesn't impact the kids. That's what a lot of teachers and a lot, had mentioned in their own ways, but that was kind of the gist of it. So, rather than always coming up and saying it's about property taxes or it's about local control, maybe the number one thing should be it's about the kids, and then figure that out.
I agree.
Not sure how we do that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to talk about curriculum unless you're a teacher. It's like I don't know nothing about curriculum.
Right.
I can't imagine, the only thing I can imagine getting disrupted, in which usually you negotiate, is if we have kids from our district in their high school or in their school that are close to graduation, you can negotiate, they can stay there and things like that. As far as the education day to day, I don't think that's really going to be a major concern.
Right.
Especially if we have if the staff that we have now stays. Yeah, I can't imagine like coming in. The kids got right there.
I'm sorry. That are close to graduation are allowed to stay in the school if they are currently attending for a year. Am I right? Is that
Well, I mean, that's a negotiated thing.
Yeah,
as far as I know.
that's again, this is probably like just getting information off people because the Department of Education has to approve our plan, right? And so really, I think we should give people a little more confidence in that. It's not just a bunch of people that are like, hey, we're just gonna come up with this plan and
Yeah, but I think that's what people think that's what people think, is that they think they're just like, well, people have no idea what anything, or, you know, changing how we're
Yeah.
doing schools, you know what I mean? That's what I seriously think. That's against it, truly believe.
Yeah, there's,
The curriculum and we're gonna make
Well,
all,
Yeah.
yeah.
Position. That people, you know, we have this, I think that's the barrier that needs to be broken, but.
yeah, there's like literal propaganda going out on Facebook by people who work at my school, I won't say any names, saying this committee is trying to take away services from our students.
We can,
That's literally verbatim the post that I read.
first of
And I
all,
was like, what?
there are certain services that we cannot touch.
Yeah,
because they
I don't know where.
Exactly like RSU 10. So I don't, it's not like we're gonna get sneaky and, oh my gosh, cut things. I mean, we are mandated to follow the is put out there, so there's no way. So someone needs services, they can. We combined 128 positions. So it has come to the point where, you know, everybody's feeling it.
Yeah.
And if it's, you know, that it's gonna happen in RSU 10, of course it's gonna happen down at the other level.
I was thinking to kind of maybe come to a middle, going from sending out surveys to every household to just doing something digital. What if we took out a quarter-page ad in the country courier, which goes to every single resident, right? Email, they're gonna read anything, right? At least something. And I'm not saying that would have the survey, but just here are the next 4 meetings and where they are. Here is the link to look at files. You know, here is the websites to get more information on.
To take a survey if you want.
Right. Right. I mean, you know, I'm sure that that would be a lot cheaper, and it would be just a brief thing that catches people's attention to where they can say, well, that means going out. I'll go to that meeting, or I'll check this out. I mean, just so that we can do our due diligence, some information out there.
Right. People get a survey if they want to fill one out and they are not online and they don't get online.
Right.
There has to be a way for them to say, hey,
Yeah.
I want one. Can we put surveys at Tilton's or at each of the town offices?
I'm sure we can.
Don't they have them there?
We're gonna get them here.
Stand at the dump and pass them out.
There you go.
Okay, Hartford.
Say, I do know that at least in Buckfield, they are available
Mhm.
digitally and in person if they want to pick them up.
So
I just thought you first night.
in the country courier, we could say paper copies of the survey are available at each town office.
Right?
Right.
There's not much more you can do,
Right.
you know?
And if
Idea how much that would cost.
I can find out, I mean, I can't imagine, I mean, it'd be a lot cheaper than sending out mailers to everybody.
Yeah, especially with the.
And we know that they will go to every single
Well,
mailbox.
I think the key to that is getting on the front page of it. Because if you get in the inside of it, then
Right.
forget it.
Right. And I,
You know,
Where did you? You just look at the picture of the page.
I can reach out to the country courier and talk to them and see what kind of price we can get, and then the next meeting have all that information for you, or at least page front.
Right, I mean, that can't be a lot of money on that thing, I wouldn't think.
I can't imagine.
You guys do a direct mailer. Postcard side.
Yeah.
It would cost about $660. 24.7 cents.
That's less than 1% of your budget.
But would postcard do it though? Or would
we,
That's what I'm
just a
saying.
It
postcard.
wouldn't be the survey, it would have to just say to pick one up, I guess, right?
Pick one off the keywords.
Right.
I'm saying if you guys at some point in this process decide to do it.
Right.
That's like $600.
Are you saying if that's a postcard size, so we wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to put a letter?
Right. Postcard. That would be like, that's correct. A letter would be 3 times. You said it was 24 point something.
You draw a letter, it's actually right to me, but if you actually have to physically mail out a letter,
Yeah.
you pay 70, 80 cents.
Right.
Yeah, probably stuff,
Right, there's still some cost to actually make the
you know, I
post.
included that.
Okay, so
You've done this.
we'll say
No,
600 for that, and we'll see how much it costs you
Yeah.
for your ad, and we'll decide.
Well, I guess the question is how often are we gonna do that? Because if we send that out once, then like, I feel like you'd have to almost do it monthly.
That's my concern too. And we don't have a whole lot of information yet.
Right. You can only do so much if people, I mean, you could drag them here,
Right.
you know?
I would feel more comfortable mailing something out to every home when we're a lot further along with a lot more
I agree with that.
information. I agree with Nick. Are we gonna be doing it every month? That starts to add up.
Right. Which, well, public forums would be great, but we gotta get them here and
No. When it's
But
gonna
when we
happen.
have a public forum set up, then it would make sense to do that.
right. Do we feel, I have a sort of related question, but on an electronic level, do we feel like it makes sense for this group to create its own Facebook page so we can create communications of our own?
Wow.
You feel doing it.
I do think so.
No censoring it.
Yes, and I do think so. I think it just allows people to interact with the community and not so much like just at the town level.
But if we're not going, we're gonna allow comment on it. It's a great,
Yes.
because it could get really ugly,
You know,
especially if people go back and forth.
I don't know. You just don't like it when people put things out there and then they censor it. I had 5 minutes, you 10 did it.
You either have comments turned off or you moderate it and you hide inappropriate content. I mean, disputing what we're working on,
We don't have
and
to.
disputing whether or not you want it to happen, that's fine until it becomes inappropriate.
Right.
Right, and if someone does monitor it, you know, will it go from monitoring 1 comment a day to 1,000 back and forth?
Well, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so we do that. Exactly.
Right,
And we just have to just put information up there like it's a bulletin and.
Well, I'm kind of a fan of creating a platform for people, the information to go, but not necessarily have it be a place where people argue about the point. You can do that in plenty of other places.
right.
You can put people up their page and comment all you want there.
Well, that's my point, right?
That's fine.
If you have a Facebook page, whoever manages it could go to people of Hartford, people of Buckfield. Is there a Sumner page like that?
Yep.
I've never heard of that. You guys must keep quiet out there.
Well, just,
All right, so do we want? On the table, we have an ad in the Country Courier and a Facebook page. So the Facebook page doesn't cost us anything.
Right.
We just need somebody willing to put it up there. And we would have to figure out what we want up there. Do we do that now, or do we wait?
In my opinion, I think we do it because right now we could say something as simple as there's not much to know.
right,
But we're going to be building. That's kind of what I was thinking a couple of weeks back.
Just put something there with our meetings.
Right. Exactly. And we can be building our network and getting more people to follow that page because it's not a page that you're going to be friends with. You're going to be,
Right.
It's a page you're going to follow.
Right. Yep. So,
I'd be willing to,
page.
yeah, maybe work with Neil or
Okay,
Nick or
a motion that you're gonna do that. I'd make a motion that Aaron's going to create a Facebook page for the townspeople to follow, and we'll have information like meeting times and places.
So I want
Et
to
cetera.
reiterate that private messaging, the committee would be turned off.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
I have a question about this, or maybe an addendum to that. We're are we providing her or whoever free will to post on it, or are we going to discuss posts?
That's what we want on there.
But I feel like there's going to be a couple of levels because we should probably allow certain update posts be okay. Like, hey, just a reminder, tonight's meeting, you know,
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Dates and times, but if there's gonna be like an announcement,
Yeah, well,
public, whatever.
press releases will be approved by the committee.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
informational updates such as meeting times and stuff like that.
Reminders.
Right, right, because you're gonna update it every 15 minutes and it's gonna be past somebody's news feed by the time they,
Right.
Right, and then we'll just let Aaron do all the posting and updates and all that stuff. That way it's just one person that.
I like it. That's a good step.
And did we need to make a motion about you checking on the country courier or no? Should we?
Well, he's just finding information.
Fact finding.
Okay,
Just fact finding.
all right.
Yeah.
What was the third part? We're talking about mailers.
Yeah, mailers, we're not ready for mailers yet.
Everybody did that research for us.
Yeah, we need.
Right.
Yeah.
Are we ready for a public forum yet?
I would just say no.
Well, because technically this is kind of a public forum. People can come
It
and
is.
show up,
I guess that's where I'm at. I think if we start building a network, like we talked about, a lot of people that
I
are
can feel like
are
they want
involved,
it open.
yeah, they're going to be following this type of stuff, and we can probably start drumming up better support for that if it's hitting people's feeds. That's what I think.
Maybe
Anyways.
get them here.
And the other option too is if down the road we do start doing public forums, should we have that at the high school?
I guess it
So
depends
it's
on
more welcoming, where more people are used to going to the high school rather than town office.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope we would have the space here.
Right.
Azalea?
I just want to put the mailers again, because like Cameron said, postcard would be $160, which is less than a half of the percentage of the budget that you have to work with. If you were to buy stamps and do full page mailers, that would be still less. You don't have to do it monthly. You can do one with the survey, the FAQ, and just soliciting what people's concerns are, so you have a direction to go for answering questions and kind of pick up on common questions. Then you can do maybe one.
Well, I think you can make a motion to revisit the postcards at next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Under new business, it's meeting video quality issues, so I think we've already.
Okay.
got one.
Audio quality, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Are you planning on adding more mics?
We're gonna buy my I can hear you guys. The issue sometimes that I'm having, every once in a while they start to break up, but if two of you are talking at the same time, it's almost inaudible.
Right.
So I just gotta kind of try to watch until I'll order up some new ones.
We'll try not to talk at the same time. We just get excited. All right, moving on. Business.
I guess I'll ask, is there anything that we want to reach out to Kristen or Connie to have them help prepare anything that we're about before the next meeting?
Well, let's circle back. We skipped over inventory processing update.
Okay.
That's fine. I just don't know if there's been any update on inventory processing.
Well,
Flings that maybe some inventory has been moving around the district. So it brought questions. I don't
That
know.
might be something that you wanna
Well, the last time I talked to her, I asked her, and she said managing inventory and taking care of that sounded like it was very much an action that she was going to be taking the lead on.
Right. You can say to her that we have heard that there's already inventory moving about.
Okay, how much, I mean, is that like factual stuff or just something you're saying?
Right.
I'm just questioning.
Well, I can leave it at that. It's a concern,
Yeah.
and she'll jump on it. I would expect. It's been a while since we've seen her, so I don't know what's been going on.
Bonnie was going to give the committee specific homework to do. We haven't heard from her, so
Right.
I'd like to know what specific tasks she would assign to the committee.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping that the next meeting she has, she'll have talked to the other lawyer and have actionable things for everybody to do by then. I'm hoping.
So I'll reach out for an overall update and follow up with the committee. And I'll also mention inventory concerns. Anything else you'd like me to plant with her at this time? Or either one of them? It's quite often I'm actually, just to go back to the beginning, we talked about who's talking to this person versus that person. I have a feeling I'm going to be talking to both of them at once.
Yeah, sure. Okay, objectives for next meeting.
Yeah.
That is the next email, right? If there's something that we need to be working on between now and then, I would assume they need to direct us on that.
And they're gonna be with us, so that'll probably take a good chunk of the meeting.
And then hopefully Neil will have an update about the cost for the country courier.
Yeah, and an answer about the software.
Correct.
And I'll have an update about the late arrival Wednesday meeting at the elementary.
Oh, that's right, because you're doing that next week.
Yes.
Yes, Wednesday. And any
That's cool.
I will be there. I missed this one. I totally spaced it. I'm not gonna lie. Being there.
Thank you.
Now, at this time, do we wanna tell Aaron what to put on the Facebook page?
Yeah.
Or discuss what we should have?
We want to put that on next, like develop our communication strategy and what we're gonna do. Maybe we want to talk about that more in depth. Next meeting, we want to talk about it now.
What we were gonna task her to do is just like put our next few meeting
Yeah.
times and what
Right.
we're maybe a
Yeah.
little thing just for the first one and see.
Right.
If you get any followers.
Yeah, no, I think doing it sooner rather than later makes sense.
And it might actually require you to go. I don't know if you can invite people to follow you, right? So that might be part of the activity there.
Do we want to have, because like, if we're gonna do anything for like frequently asked questions or something, like we kind of, and we've also said that whatever she puts on there that's not information, like basic information stuff, would have to be approved by us. So I need to talk about that, you know.
Saying it's just for this first one, we're having meetings at this time, and surveys are available. This is plain and simple. Next meeting, we can discuss, we can have maybe a more feedback from you from the elementary school, more, what I want to say.
Like if you have like a list of
Surveys,
maybe we could be working on that.
Cool. Think of it, and we could like answer some of those questions and post that up.
Maybe even make sure you put the email address. So if people do have questions, they can submit it via email, which is more of a private
Right.
thing.
Right.
I mean, it's still public information, but it's not like a back and forth.
Right.
Where on this agenda would we actually be covering that, or should we add communications to the agenda?
Yeah, I think we should have communications for next meeting.
Yeah, for the next meeting.
Maybe, maybe reference it.
Okay.
as a-
You mean?
Well, I just mean like at some point in the meeting, we should be hitting on communications, where we at, what do we want to talk
Okay,
about?
yeah.
I'd probably do it as a business item.
I think that's right, yeah.
Business item would be just a constant one, basically.
Right.
Right.
So for next meeting, do we want, I mean, I know Deb's gonna be looking at like maybe like frequently asked questions, like being treated. What other kind of things do we want to try and prepare for our next meeting, like that we might want to talk about for communications?
I feel like one of the things I was going to suggest is if the two legal counsel and the educational council person are planning to attend, we could also promote that, right? Like approve her to promote that now, so people know, like, hey, okay, this could be something that's actually really relevant now.
That's a good point.
So
Is that what we're making a motion for?
if people are down with it, I'll make the motion to allow you to make a post that shares that Connie and Kristen will be here remotely.
And include the survey, like,
Waivers, yeah,
yep, and then provide the email and provide our next dates.
yes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Then one of the things that we can think about for the future is maybe coming up with a draft page that we can post on that and anywhere else too, that basically kind of, talks about what our purpose is. And also the fact that we don't make decisions on positions, curriculum, all that stuff. Because it's amazing at how many people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, you gotta make sure we hire more bus drivers, or we have to do this, or this." It's like, well, that's not on us, that's the next school board that gets, So if more people are aware that we don't have any of that decision making about positions or anything like that,
That we hire.
right? That
Just
I think that will
with the new
help.
board.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody who's actually qualified to be making.
Right, so,
One other thing about the Facebook page, I feel like we talked about it, but we didn't make a decision on it. Are we having comments on, or are we having comments?
no,
It's just a place to post.
Yeah, just want to make sure.
Aaron clarified that before I seconded.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because if someone wants to make a comment, they can always shoot an email.
All right, yeah, just want to make sure.
So,
all right, our next meeting time is April 2nd at 6:30 here in Upfield.
So that's Sumner leading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying.
I knew it wasn't me.
actually, I want to just bring up one little thing, just so that we have a vote on it, one way or the other. We've been starting to get some spam email coming in on our email. Do I have permission to remove that email? Spam stuff?
I would say so.
Because if it's not pertinent to withdrawal process or any of those type of comments, I just want to make sure that we have permission to move them.
Absolutely.
I move that you'll be able to eliminate spam email.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
All right. Committee member comments. I have one. So, last meeting, when we're at the educational, we had the woman from, what was her name again? Connie. Our educational consultant.
Yep.
I have a problem with, and maybe you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or not, how she wants to approach the budget. Because I got the feeling that she was saying, we're not going to touch anything. We're not going to make any major, we're not going to do any, look for any cuts. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. Because we need a PR, like the PR part of it, the staff. I thought, did I pick up the wrong vibe on that from her?
My perception was that she doesn't encourage people to go lean, thinking that they're going to be more efficient because it leads to inefficiency if they go too lean.
we got a conversation about Winthrop and stuff, which I didn't think applied, and I didn't think that we even would go down that road. But I cannot do in good conscience is put a budget out there that leaves us safe where I know you guys are making cuts, but we'll say, yeah, we are for that, because I don't think we were put here for that. And to me, it would be completely dishonest to put something out like that without trying to be financially responsible, because that's what we told the people that we were going to try to do, and then turn around and then the next school board comes in was hoping that we would get a reasonable, have discussions about staffing and a reasonable thing that we could put before the voters, and not just same old, because I know we want to keep the public relations with the staff okay, and I do too. I don't want to lose anybody unless we absolutely feel there's no need for that position. But I'm not here just to please the staff. We have 3 towns full of property taxpayers, and I think it would be dishonest to not look at this budget and just present the same old, and then turn around and say, we're going to make the cuts with the next school board and the next. I mean, if there's something there that we should, like, we have to kind of talk about, are we going to share a superintendent principal? Are we going to hire out for special ed services, things like that? Because I just did not feel comfortable. I felt like that's what I was getting from her, and I wanted to know if that's what you guys got, because I kept referring to staffing amounts, and I don't know if she didn't understand what I was saying. When she brought up the Winthrop and all that stuff, to me it was like, I don't even know why we're discussing this. It doesn't apply. As if we would go down that road.
I could be wrong, but I thought that it was basically she was going to look at and build a budget based off the ED 279.
No, because I mentioned that, and she said no. She was
with some assumptions. So
she checked budget and pulling what she tried to do. But in my opinion,
Well, I think we can tell her what we think, but I also think it does make sense for us to take the budget that RSU has put together this year and build what this would look like off of that first. I think that's the best place to start, and then whatever.
Yes, that. I don't want to just take that when people are, looking for us to be fiscally responsible.
Right.
Or do that RSU 10, which nobody, they have to do the same thing, doing due diligence. It's a little different. Not the PR part of it, but to me, it's just.
Well, I feel like I think she was just trying to make the committee with her first opportunity realize that it can't be all about the numbers. I just think she was trying to kind of make that point, that obviously this is something that we're going to be able to strategically look at and work at, but she came right out and said it in the meeting. If you're withdrawing thinking this is going to cost you less, you're sadly mistaken.
Well,
and I know we all know this.
Right.
But I think she was kind of just trying to make the point that you can't just go lean thinking that it's going to be good, because
no. Well, I guess she understood who she was talking to.
Right. It could just be that. I think she was trying to sort of just make the point. I mean, again, it's no different than going super.
2 weeks. So it's like, no,
I agree with you, Nick. I think she didn't know her audience well, because if she had asked us about Do you think you're gonna save money? I think after the first week of the ad hoc committee, we knew there's no way that we could save money. If we look hard enough, there may be a way for us to
Be more efficient.
be more efficient and not have the increases be so steep.
Right, and along with that, with the local patrol, we could make decisions to be more efficient.
Right.
And that was kind of goes hand in hand. Now, the other thing that I remember her stating and going along with this timeline as far as the lawyer as well, was that we could work on the budget stuff and up until the new school board, but in the end, it's that new school board who actually is going to take the budget and create it.
I got it.
And but can we create a budget to start off with, but then now start from scratch? Because you have to do
Right, but I didn't just want something that we're having these people vote on in November, thinking they're getting this, and then the next people come in and just get completely blindsided.
No.
That's honest.
I agree with you that it is
It's
dishonest.
not both ways, like if we tried to come in, hey, this is the budget and we're gonna save a ton of money.
Yeah,
and then,
exactly.
so-
Right.
And we're not.
Which
Right.
I actually felt like her example of Winthrop was complete opposite of what you said. I thought it was highly relevant because I feel like she was just trying to take us on a journey to understand how multiple places had run into this, run into that. And, that's just my take from her explanation that I do think she actually did a fair amount of research on us already because she looked up a bunch of information.
Right.
But I still think, some of the comments she was probably just trying to take us down an understanding of what you can do, why you did it wrong, and the outcomes that you make aggressive decisions.
I agree with what Michelle was saying too, though, because as we fill out all of this paperwork and when we submit our request to withdraw, we have to have a budget in that paperwork. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be exactly to the penny, because I know that those things are going to change, and I know we have to give the state our best approximation of what this budget is going to look like.
Yeah.
And am I right about?
Yeah, I think she said that she was gonna be building this budget based on a lot of assumptions, and that. The $100,000. This is the contracts we have, et cetera.
We think we can do it for this.
Probably work out good for this committee is that the RSU is cutting so much this year.
And everybody.
If the state changes the PS formula, which some of those things they've been using ever since 2004.
Yep.
Yeah, so that could line up perfectly for us. Already making hard cuts right now, and then having a better formula for those lines. So.
But I also agree with what you said, Michelle, that maybe we should be looking at the budget in the sense of, how would we combine superintendent and principal? How do we cut? Not try to use the word cut, but
Be more
efficient. Connie's job was to.
I agree.
The actual. Do we want to share superintendent?
right. When she was like, you need a full-time superintendent, you need a business manager, it's like, well, really? Book is.
You did. About what you got.
Sure.
Maybe her goal is with that.
Sure.
You know how to word that. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, she was, I think she was just fielding a lot of questions and giving a lot of examples over the different things that she ran through. These different. You can tell.
That's representing any.
We need to set our expectations to the people we hired.
Yes. And just get that clarification. I personally wouldn't mind seeing it with everything in it. And then taking a look at that and going from there to whittle it down. But I would like to kind of see the progression personally.
It does
but-
make sense. Yeah.
It's not that we're gonna have.
Yeah.
This
Right.
is probably coming as first time for.
Full time. I hope we could get somebody to.
The other thing too, it's, what without, kind of speaking out of turn, I did talk to Troy about the combination role. He's willing to talk about it. If the school board want him as that position, but, there's that potential.
The next step I really think is to have Nick clarify, and then from there we'll know where to go.
Right.
I do think you kind of nailed it, though. It'd be nice to see what a fully functioning budget looks like and then start,
Yeah.
right, try to find ways that it applies best to us.
Yes.
Well, the other thing too about looking at the full budget is it also gives us certain account numbers that we may not necessarily be familiar with. Oh yeah, that's right, we need that, because there's a lot in that budget that I'm like, really? And then you think about it, oh, okay, and don't realize you need it. And or we don't need it. I mean, it just depends on what it goes to.
All right. Comments. Azalea, you have anything else?
Let me check. I did have notes. I think I touched on most of my questions. Sorry. Okay, I have them up. I did want to mention that I think Deb may have already mentioned it, but the principal was really eager at the possibility of joining late starts in the future, because he just says they always have them on Wednesdays, and he would love to have a more in-depth discussion. I don't think he necessarily meant immediately, but at a future point, I think it would be a gesture of goodwill to keep that relationship open. I also wanted to mention, I know you guys specifically didn't develop the survey. I'd like a little more thought paid to the present way the survey is phrased. Like, for example, there's a question about how much do you value fiscal responsibility, and you rate it 1 star to 5 stars. I just don't know who wouldn't put 5 stars to that question. And the same with how much do you value human safety, or sorry, student safety? Like, I don't know who wouldn't rate that 5 star. I mean, maybe someone is out there that wouldn't, but I just think that some of the questions could be a little more carefully evaluated. Maybe that's a conversation you can have at a future meeting or something. But there were just some questions in there that were vague, and you can probably read a couple different ways. And that's about it for me.
The survey, the rating stuff 1 through 5, is part of a Likert scale. And so I think that because some of the questions were in that Likert scale formula, that's how that ended up that way.
I thought it wasn't bad.
I don't think it was bad. I just, like, when I was going through it, I was like, I don't know who wouldn't rate fiscal responsibility or student safety higher. So I think maybe instead of that being a 5-star rating, asking openly, in what ways do you feel that fiscal responsibility hasn't been met, or in what ways do you think student safety hasn't been guaranteed, instead of it being a 1 through 5 rating system? Because
I would like to reiterate that the survey was not generated by the committee.
Right. I think I mentioned that off the top. But if the committee could take a deeper dive into those questions at a future meeting, maybe everyone takes a look between now and, I don't know, next meeting or the meeting after. My suggestion.
And my comment about we should have do more than just one at each school. I think we should do it periodically. They do schedule specific things on late arrival Wednesdays for the teachers. So yes, they do late arrivals every Wednesday, but we have to get on the schedule.
I mean, even maybe just once a quarter.
Sure.
I mean,
It's more often than just once.
Well, aren't we preparing this to go to a vote Where does that fall in the timeline schedule? I'm trying to remember.
November.
Okay, so,
Public hearings are set. I actually gave Connie my.
Hearing.
We think that we want to do another one sometime around, I believe, Kristen changed our timeline to May 21st or something for the actual, like, submit to the
Right.
DOE. I would think we'd want to run something around that time if we've gotten to that point and it's completed and we're sending it in, and then they've got, 60 days to respond. I think that would be a good time. We could say, listen, step 8 is complete and it's at the DOE's and office and we're whatever,
Well, I don't know if there's an opportunity to meet the teachers during summer, but we're
Getting to the end.
getting to the end, I guess, right? So
Right.
if we have May, if we're going to take April off, hypothetically, we really got to do another series, at least by May.
Right.
And then maybe we could be fortunate enough where they'd allow us to come in August. I don't know if they would be willing to do that since they're trying to get things up and running for the school year.
We can ask.
Make a motion, okay, sure.
I'll second it. All in favor?